Good evening and welcome to the October 25th, 2022 meeting of the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners. We're glad that you're here this evening. We just ask if you have a cell phone or any other electronic device, if you would silence that for the remainder of our meeting. We're going to stand for the invocation to be given by Commissioner McCoy. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please bow with me. Lord, we just rise to give thanks to you for all that you do for us, Lord. We would just ask that you would be here in our midst tonight. Give us attentive ears, open minds, Lord, so we can conduct the business and set before us. And Lord, as always, we'll just give you the glory, honor, and praise for everything that you do for us. In Christ Jesus' name.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first order of business will be to adopt the agenda. We do have a couple of changes. If you'll look under new business, number 3 will be removed. And replaced with number 3 will be discussion of GDOT funding. Any other changes? Hearing none, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, next will be our finance report, and Mr. Bill, I think he's put a copy at everyone's place.
Yes, ma'am, I have. You'll notice on the bank balance report, the general fund has the balance of $1.6 million. We did get our insurance premium tax distribution early this month, as well as our third quarter tipping fees from waste management, so that helped a lot. Unless you got any questions, everything else is pretty standard on there. The next sheet is the September SPLOST distribution from the Department of Revenue. The total distribution was $239,000 and some change. The county's portion was $155,957.20. If you look on the next page, with that $155,957, our average for the first 9 months of 2022 is $148,000. I think originally we budgeted maybe $95,000, so that's really good. That's up about 20 grand from the 12 months of 2021. That's SPLOST. The next sheet is the distribution on T-SPLOST with $199,597. Of that, $129,758.65 was the county's portion, and that. With that 129, that brings the 9-month average for 2022 to 123,366, which is about 20 grand more than the average for the 12 months of 2021. And those two distributions were, I know the SPLOST was the highest we've ever received, and I think T-SPLOST was second on the list.
Are these for the same time frame?
Yes, they're both.
Makes no sense if one's $30,000 difference when it's all 1 cent.
But the T-SPLOST, everything's not, that following T-SPLOST, like food and different things, some of it's not taxed.
Mostly gas tax.
Yeah.
But unless you got any questions, that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Bill. All right, Allison, do we have anyone signed up to speak under citizen comment? Okay, before the speakers come up, let me just read a little bit about our citizen comments. Speakers must direct their remarks to the board and not to individual commissioners or to the audience. Personal disagreements with individual commissioners or county employees are not a matter of public concern, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. Speakers will be allotted 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to matters pertinent to the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. No questions will be asked by any of the commissioners during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. No speaker will be permitted to speak more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the board votes to suspend this rule. And who's first on the list? Mr. Scott Foreman. Okay. If you'll come to the podium and state your name and your address, please.
There's not a pen here. There's a cap. My name is Scott Kwame. I live in Fayette County, Georgia. My address is 205 Roxbury Ridge, Peachtree City, Georgia.
Thank you.
I'm going to list my email address here. If anyone would like to contact me, I'd encourage you to do so. I'm here to speak about the airport in Meriwether County. It's the oldest continuously operated airport in the state. And I came to an airport authority meeting. I think many of you were here, not all, but many. And after that airport authority meeting, I received notice that I was going to be evicted from a hangar that I've had for over 2 years at the Meriwether County Airport. I received an eviction notice today, and I think I want to make sure that the commissioners are aware that I filed a complaint with the Georgia Department of Transportation, as well as the Federal Aviation Administration, for unfair practices. And it's being taken seriously. It's a 12-page report. And I find it a little disturbing that during this time period, the airport authority, instead of trying to resolve the issue, has stonewalled me. And the airport authority is now seeking to remove me, not only from the hangar, but from the airport itself. The airport property, from my understanding, is public property. And it's always been my understanding that, yeah, you can probably get evicted from public property, but I would think, and I think most people would agree, that you have to do something incredibly egregious to be thrown off public property. You have to break the law. I paid my rent on time, except for 1 month, and I paid the late fee for that. The airport authority currently holds rent money that is paid through December. I'm not being evicted for not paying my way at the airport. I'm being evicted, in my mind's eye, because I came to an airport authority meeting, and in 15 minutes, I voiced grievances that had happened over a 2-year-long period. And I spoke very freely, passionately, and truthfully. And since that time, I've received letters from the county attorney, Nathan Lee, accusing me of being a liar and bullying county employees. And I wanted to address the commissioners and say, that is not true. I emphatically deny it. I'm going to fight this eviction. And I'm very concerned that when the DOT renders its decision on the complaint that I have filed, along with the FAA, then I'm going to be continued to be treated poorly. This county has
Sir, the
my time's finished.
Thank you.
I request you to reconsider for more time.
Y'all have in your citizen comment rules that y'all can put suspend the rules, we take a vote of the group.
And I request a minute.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair, this is my first time here. I would like to hear him finish what he has to say. If he's not going to take more than a minute or 2 minutes, that's my desire. I don't know what the board's desire, but
We have a second? I'll second. All in favor? All opposed? We'll do an additional minute.
Okay, that's fine. I want to thank you. And I also want to, I found out tonight that at least 3 of you have not received emails that I've sent. In August, I sent each and every county commissioner an email to talk to them about what's going on at the airport regarding the airport authority. My email address is kwamefamily@yahoo.com. It's written here. I understand now that you had a internet change or something, had something go on, and probably you didn't receive my emails. And that's the same thing that happened to me when they sent a lease to me in December 21st of 2022. I didn't receive it. I wasn't able to open it. So I understand that. But if you want to contact me, I would encourage you to, because I think there's some matters that are going on with the airport authority that the commissioners need to be made aware of. And I'll be glad to share emails with the attorney that are very threatening. And most attorneys use words like seems or may to avoid a direct confrontation with someone. These don't contain those words. I am flat out called a liar, and I am not. I assure you of that. And I thank you for your time.
Who's next?
Tim Brown.
Mr. Brown?
He wasn't able to make it, he got stuck at work.
Okay, so he's not here. Okay. All right, we'll move on. All right, we have the minutes of the October 12th, 2022, 9 a.m. regular meeting. We do have corrected minutes in front of us. Are there any corrections or changes that need to be made?
Hearing none, I make a motion to accept.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor? We do not have need for a public hearing. Our next item is appointments, and this is for the Water and Sewage Authority, District 5. That is the district that I represent. I had recently appointed someone to that, and they have notified us that just things have come up and they would not be able to serve. And at this time, I'd like to appoint Theron Gay to serve on the Water and Sewage Authority to fill this unexpired term.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed?
You don't have a character reference.
All right, thank you. All right, unfinished business. Number 1, Office of the Tax Commissioner, age taxes. Ms. Zeri?
Yes, Madam Chair and Board, Ms. Deanne Cruz is here this evening to discuss the age taxes. Michael Hill also has some legal information regarding that. As we discussed in the last meeting, it has to do with the law and what is uncollectible at a certain time. If you guys have any questions, we're all here to answer those. Deanne's here as well.
Madam Chair, it's the same question, and I apologize. I really wanted to look at that information, but was not able to look into it in more detail. But this is not just mobile homes. We're talking any other taxes that are due that's 7 years and older, right?
It's 2008 through 2015.
So some personal property in there also.
There's real property, timber, personal property, mobile homes. Did I leave anything out? Is it? Okay, my apologies.
98 through 2015.
All right, Michael, did you have something you wanted to?
I don't know how much you want me to elaborate on it, but generally speaking, you're not allowed to enforce a tax execution after the 7-year period unless it was already on the execution docket and it's been renewed on the execution docket every 7 years or so. So while it doesn't say what you're supposed to do when you can't enforce, there are a couple of cases out there that do suggest that you would just cancel those debts because a citizen who is subject to one of these stale tax debts would be able to sue for cancellation as a remedy. So that implies that you'd be able just to strike it yourselves.
So if any of these taxes continue to be behind currently, does a 7-year still apply? If they've continued year after year after year?
Yes, so if they were, let's say, for instance, you had a 98 tax debt, but it still hasn't been paid, the debt arose in 1998.
Right, but
so
if
you
it
have
continued,
7 years.
What I'm saying is from 98, 99, 2000, and it continues every year to continue to be behind, not just from that year, but continuously year after year. is that property, does it still fall off the 7, or is it still attachable from 98 on, since it's been every
It's
year?
not attachable for each of those years
When it was
that it
incurred.
go beyond the 7-year period. So portions, if it, more recent periods were also in arrears, those would be attachable.
And if there's FIFAs attached to them, that changes the situation as well, correct, Deanne?
Right, unless they haven't been renewed.
And that's what and you can renew a FIFA every 7 years as well along.
Any other questions? I guess one takeaway from this is that, I mean, all efforts need to be made, to collect these before your 7 years hit. Because by law, you can't do anything after that. We're just sitting there with things on the books that we absolutely can do nothing about.
And we did just start a mobile home campaign. The tax assessor's office, in conjunction with our office, is going out, putting out door hangers or anything, none that if they don't get their pay taxes to the decal, that it can, that it will be FIFA,
Yeah.
and it can be sold at a tax sale. We've also partnered back with GTS, who is our delinquent tax company. They have sent out 5A, notice to 5A for 21 and 22 taxes that are done. So we will be hoping to have a tax sale in March.
Any other questions? Martin, what motion do you need from us?
Authorization, correct, to move forward.
Again, the statutes aren't exactly clear, but they do suggest that y'all have the power to cancel, cancel being the word, so I would move that you cancel the still debts or the still tax debts.
1998 to 2015, and that's the 7 years, 15.
Is there a
Yeah.
list? Of
Yes.
those?
They're in
There was
my
a list.
office.
We had that at our,
And so I would incorporate that into your, it's presented by it's presented in the list provided by the tax commission.
Minutes.
all right, hearing this information, what is the pleasure of the board?
Doesn't sound like we have any choice, so I make a motion to cancel tax debts from 1998 to 2015 presented in the list provided by the tax commissioner.
All right, we have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you, Dan, for your work on that. All right, number 2, equipment purchase for Meriwether County Recreation.
Madam Chair and Board, we did go over this at the last meeting as well. There is an intergovernmental agreement for the equipment as directed by the board, which is for it to remain property of the county, but maintenance needs to be followed. Required maintenance needs to be followed and provided by the city of Manchester. There also has been a $5,000 donation that was presented today from Commissioner Threadgill.
So what does that leave the balance then?
That would be, the balance would be $3,743.82.
Everybody has the copy of the intergovernmental agreement.
Yes, I'll pass that out as well.
Madam Chair, as I asked in the last meeting, the county's gonna own it, it's gonna be available. The city will maintain the maintenance of it, but in the event that any other department needs to use this facility, it would not be available.
No, because there's an intergovernmental agreement to allow Manchester to use it.
Plus, I think it would void they're responsible for the maintenance on it and the upkeep on it.
Per the manufacturer's guidelines.
One thing in drawing up the intergovernmental agreement that I wanted to make clear is I did not put a provision for provision of insurance. I'm assuming the county or the owner
Yes.
will want to insure it, but if y'all wanted it a different way, we would need to add that to the agreement.
We probably need insurance.
That was my assumption, but I wanted just to make sure that was what the board wanted.
And because we do have that line item under recreation, it takes it from 874382 now to 374382 with the donation that was brought.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Madam Chair, yes, I have a question. Commissioner Threadgill said a line item in recreation, is that the one that says small equipment? Okay, so in talking to our finance director, Mr. Gregory, maybe there needs to be clarification, but I was under the impression that that small equipment was for Lake Meriwether, or does it make a difference?
We can use it for anything we need under
I
that.
thought it was just recreation, but. Yes.
Lake Meriwether.
Because it has special projects under there for 10,000, small equipment for 10,000. And asking him, I was informed that this is for Lake Meriwether, so if it doesn't specifically say that on the line item, then I guess not, but just wanted to make sure, you know, that the board is aware of, you know, just wanted clarity on that.
Okay. Any other questions? What's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that we purchase the John Deere Gator with the intergovernmental agreement between the county and Manchester,
Allow the chair to sign.
and allow the chair to sign.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Yeah, go ahead and add to specify.
Well, I did last time, but and the funds to come out of recreation line item for small equipment.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
So we're gonna go ahead and put the insurance policy.
We have to,
I mean, if we're gonna be the ones
It'll be-
responsible for insurance, we won't need a change.
Okay, that's fine.
If we wanted Meriwether, or sorry, if we wanted Manchester to be responsible for insurance, then we would have needed to.
Okay, we'll just take care of it.
All right, all in favor? All opposed? I just received a text that, those online could not hear Deanne when she spoke. Do you mind coming up and let's just repeat what you said about what you were working with the tax assessor's office, just so those online can hear what you said?
Yes, thank you. I do apologize, I've had some allergies,
Well, I
so.
didn't think about it, so.
We have started a campaign to collect the mobile home taxes that are delinquent.
Deanne, that thing may not be picking up, you may have to bring it up there too.
It is. I can do it. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
The tax assessor's office in conjunction with our office are going out to these delinquent mobile homes and hanging door hangers, letting them know their taxes are not paid and giving them 30 days to bring it up to current. And if not, then we will go forward with 5As and possible tax sales.
And I guess just a comment that we made too was that, and you were talking about when you were gonna do a tax sale, what y'all were doing
Yes,
to try to.
we have partnered with GTS, who is our delinquent tax company. They have sent out 5A notifications that if you don't pay your taxes within 30 days, your property will be 5A'd. Then we are hoping to have a tax sale in March.
I sent a text so they could hear you.
Okay.
Thank you. We appreciate it. All right, under new business, ACCG adoption agreement with ACCG, Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthcare Plan of Georgia, and I believe this will be an agreement for the chair to sign as well.
That's right, yes, ma'am. Madam Chair and Board, because the county has enrolled with ACCG's health insurance, the group adoption agreement is required for our participation in the program. Because we're a new member, we're requested to sign this necessary documentation and return it by mail.
Does this include any increases, decreases, or?
No, just partnership between Meriwether and
It's just
ACCG.
us being in that pool.
Yes.
I just want to make sure we didn't have a unexpected.
No. All right, any questions? All right, can we have a motion to adopt the agreement with ACCG regarding our insurance and to allow the chair to sign?
So moved.
Have a second? Second. All in favor? All right, number 2, authorization for attorney to prepare a code of conduct. Ms. Irizarry?
Yes, Madam Chair and Board, in your package, you received information on a code of conduct, and this is for all governmental grounds, local government grounds here in Meriwether County. There was a webinar that was produced by ACCG staff here, along with staff at the Sheriff's Department. Watch this. Our attorneys reached out to the attorney that presented the information, and this is to go ahead and take a first draft stab at the code of conduct for Meriwether County.
Have any questions? All right, we have a motion regarding the authorization to prepare a code of conduct.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
All right, we had removed what was number 3. Our new number 3 is discussion as to GDOT funds. Excuse me, and I think Ms. Irizarry, you have the information on that.
And I'm going to pass the letter that was received along to you all. This is in response to the letter that was sent to GDOT that was prepared earlier this year. Unfortunately, the funding request for the resurfacing of Luthersville Road, Forest Road, River Road, and Primrose Road was not approved. However, the department did want to move forward with Coleman Creek. Now, this is at the discretion of the commissioners. If you would like staff to proceed with talking to GDOT in reference to any of the roads that you might think need attention prior to Coleman Creek, since there's going to be extra work done there, and that work will probably need to be redone after the detours and things of that nature. Of course, we don't want to be upset with the gift, but at the same time, you know, do we want to, would you like staff to move forward to see if we can obtain any additional funding for any roads that may have precedence over?
Well, I think our discussion, I think we all agree that Luthersville Road was our priority.
That's right.
And in speaking with Mr. Gay about it, I mean, we certainly would not turn down their gift, but just thank them, but ask them, could we possibly use it to what's our priority? If we all agree that Luthersville is more of a priority than.
And I think we would be easily able to justify by saying, because of this additional work that's going to be done in the area, we don't want to redo the road and then it have all of this traffic that would put it kind of in the same state that it's in now.
Madam Chair, one of the things, and you and I talked briefly, Coleman Creek is GDOT's project.
That's right.
It's not our project. So, I mean, I don't understand the Olive Garden in this. What do we get out of this? I mean,
In the Coleman Creek, it was
It's the
roads-
Coleman Creek
It
Circle,
was the circle because it's going to be used for the detour.
the detour.
oh, so not the bridge itself.
Not the
It's
bridge
because
itself.
of the bridge project,
Okay.
but it was to use the circle because of.
That's still their project. I mean, still their project.
That's what I'm saying, and I think that was their thoughts, was they may have to go in and improve that anyway.
So
With their
the
project.
cost of what that is, they're willing to give us a certain amount of funds to offset that.
They have asked us for estimates, so we haven't got to a final number at this point in time. But what we would like to do, if the board would like us to move forward as staff, is to talk to GDOT and express, you know, because this other project is coming up and that road is going to go through a lot of abuse and a lot of traffic.
Because of
Luther's,
Coleman Creek.
because of the project that GDOT is doing, you know, our main priority is Luthersville Road, and we would ask GDOT to help us with funding in that instead of with the Coleman Creek Circle.
Is that funding in a grant, or is this a,
This was additional LMIG funds that they had identified.
okay.
Do we think that the two roads will be around the same amount to do?
I don't know, but we would cut it down, you know, if that's what would work for them and they would, you know, be willing to do that, we'd make it just that amount unless they want to give us more.
To do all of Luthersville would probably
Yes.
be more,
Substantial.
but it's not gonna hurt to ask.
Right. And there's no guarantee that we propose this to them and they say yes.
I just didn't want to take a higher fund for one part and
I think
request a
Lucasville's gonna be
lesser.
higher than the Coleman Creek Circle.
But not having any idea of the dollar value, which is hard to do, I understand, because you got to go in and look at the roads and all of that, but just a general idea, you would have an idea of how much of Lucasville Road you can
Right.
accommodate.
And we did send them an estimate of what we felt it would be to do Coleman Creek Circle. So we have a number that we think, but that doesn't mean that that's the same number GDOT thinks. But that's what we've sent into them as our proposal once we received this from them, because they asked us to give us an estimate on that amount.
All right, if we all agree that Luthersville Road is more of a priority than Coleman Creek Circle, can we have a motion to allow staff to proceed with talking with GDOT about possibly moving these funds from one road to the other? Make that form of a motion, and
You made it in.
I'll make the form of a motion, yes.
I'll give you a second.
All right, all in favor? All right,
Thank you.
All right, next we'll have our report from Ms. Irizarry, our county administrator.
Thank you, ma'am. Each of you should have at the dais in your spot the River Cove Landing dedication ceremony. Date and time is there. I'm sorry.
No, I
We have some extra, I'm not
No,
sure.
I just said it was here
Got some
somewhere.
extras.
I need one.
It's going to be November 9th at 2 p.m. This was coordinated with DNR and Meriwether County, so it should be a very nice event. There are going to be a lot of state representatives there as well as county. So please, if you guys are available, we would love to have you there. Biometric screenings have been going on last week and this week. They'll wrap up and then we'll have a few extra for makeups. We are also currently advertising for a building inspector. We've received a few applications, so we'll be going through those as we receive them. The GCIP grant, which is through ACCG for interns, which if you remember last year, a couple of our, I think it was Judge Rasnick, he was actually in the magazine due to his intern. So that grant application is in session, and we have had 3 constitutional officers express interest in that. On September 29th, Bill Gregory, Allison, and myself attended the financial work session for the Greenville Recreation Facility, which was the last administrative step before we can get the project started. So we've received the letter that we can move forward with that project. So that's going to start moving forward as well. And that's all I have.
All right, we'll move on to the county commissioners, Commissioner Hines.
We had on the agenda discussion that was removed. Not sure why, but I would like to get more information on that in more detail.
That's what they got to get us in, because we don't have
Okay.
any information.
Yeah, I was wondering, okay, so would like to get more information on that. Also, I'd like to bring to the board's attention, and I would like our county administrator to follow up on this. I was talking to the mayor in Gay, and there was a ATV that was donated to the fire station there a while back, and it's under the county insurance. Unfortunately, it was used and it had an accident, so I wanted to find out what's the status of replacing that, and if you can follow up on that for me, I would appreciate that.
I actually have information for you now if you would like it, or if you'd want me to get with you personally.
You can get with me later
Okay.
and then bring it to the board as a
Okay.
whole, because it needs to be a board discussion, because it was under our insurance, right?
Who
Yes,
used it?
Fire department.
Fire department.
That's the one that.
So I want some more information to see if it's gonna get replaced. Something else I had. Last Thursday, I had my town hall meeting in Luthersville. I want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting. It was a great meeting. And once again, unfortunately, it's my last meeting for this year and my term. So I want to thank everybody for coming out and participating. And also, the other thing is, the United Way is having their major fundraiser, and so I will come back to the board with more information about United Way and how they service Meriwether County and things of this nature. So I'll provide that to the board as a whole at the next meeting. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Plant?
Don't have anything.
Just a reminder that this is the last week for early voting. And that election, of course, is November the 8th. And, or next week is the end. Maybe it's next week, I'm sorry.
Next week.
Got this weekend, next week, just remember that's going on. I think at our last meeting, I just mentioned that candlelight weekends will start in Warm Springs on November the 18th, and that will run all the way through Christmas Eve. And there'll be some other things coming out with some activities that are gonna be going on there, but just to encourage everyone to shop local, support our local merchants. We have merchants in many of our cities, and they certainly could use your support. Thank you. Commissioner Trujillo?
I don't have anything.
Commissioner McCoy?
Very quickly, work is proceeding down at Lake Meriwether. We're trying to push that to a close by the end of the month. So, and today they were down working on the RV park. We've got to finish that up as well as install the dump station. That would be a wrap for that area. That's all I have.
Thank you. Report from our county attorney.
I have no report. I do understand we have need for executive session to discuss litigation and personnel.
All right. Before we go into executive session, let me just mention our future meetings. November the 9th, regular meeting at 9 a.m. November 22nd, regular meeting at 6 p.m. County offices will be closed on November 24th and 25th for the Thanksgiving holidays. We appreciate you being here tonight. At this time, can I have a motion to go into executive session at 6:36?
So moved.
Have a second? Second. All in favor? All right, we're in executive session. Thank you. Okay, a motion was made by Commissioner Threadgill and seconded by Commissioner McCoy to come out of executive session at 7:12. We're now back in regular session, and there was no action taken. Is there any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're adjourned, 7:14.